going on.
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Mike Babcock with my guy, as always, Mojo Mutati. Mojo, we're going to start with huge news in the NFL. It's something that we have talked about incessantly for weeks, for months. What was Aaron Rodgers going to do? Was he going to retire, or would he sign with an NFL team once the New York Jets had decided that they no longer wanted his services? And Mojo, now we have gotten our answer, because Aaron Rodgers is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There are reports out there, and this is true. It has not yet happened, but Aaron Rodgers intends to sign a one-year deal with the Steelers, Mojo, where he will become their new starting quarterback. The money is not yet known, but again, bottom line is that Aaron, four-time NFL MVP, 10-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion, is not retiring, is not hanging up the spikes, and he will play this season. Mojo, making this even more fun, more exciting, and more perfect is the fact that you know who the Steelers are playing week one? They're playing the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium in Jersey. Obviously, that man right there, they've switched roles. Justin Fields was the quarterback, at least for part of the season, last year for the Steelers. Aaron, of course, was the Jets quarterback. They have now swapped roles, and Aaron Rodgers will go back into his old stomping grounds, and he will try and stick it to his old team. Mojo, you couldn't have written a better script here, in my opinion.
There's only one part of me that doesn't like this news, Babcock, and that is the part of me that really wanted him to go play for the Minnesota Vikings and complete the Brett Favre trifecta. Aside from that, I love this. I think it's a great fit in Pittsburgh for Aaron Rodgers. The fact that they're kicking it off against the Jets, that is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see how that game goes. I don't know who's going to be more upset going into that game. You know, New York fans for being so excited, and then the 2 years with Aaron Rodgers not materializing, the ownership and the coaches, or Aaron Rodgers himself. I don't know. I think everyone's just disappointed with how that entire situation went over. But going to Pittsburgh, very interesting situation. I mean, they need him. You can never say who exactly is going to start prior to a season, but looking at the depth chart in the quarterback room, it's safe to say that barring another Achilles injury or something like that, Aaron Rodgers is absolutely going to be the guy there, bringing over some veteran leadership. Everyone wants to look at the last 2 years in Aaron Rodgers' career, and while they are absolutely extremely relevant, a lot of people are forgetting who that man was when he played for the Green Bay Packers, and that was one of the top two players in the NFL outside of, probably Tom Brady. But, individually, statistically, he was the best. That's why he won the MVP award so many times. But coming over to Pittsburgh, it's going to make things really exciting this year for Steelers fans.
Yeah, and look, Aaron Rodgers made it clear, and you talk to people that know him and knew his way of thinking, he wants to win another Super Bowl. So he didn't want to go to a situation where he felt like he didn't have an actual legit chance at completing that goal. The difference between one Super Bowl and two Super Bowl, that's a big deal. And the Steelers, they fell off late last year, but for a period of time, they were one of the better teams in the AFC, Mojo. I am of the belief, and I know not everybody, not even close to everybody, feels this way. I think that Aaron Rodgers has still got it. Is he that guy who won 4 NFL MVPs? No, probably not. Does he have the mobility that he used to have that made him one of the most dangerous and prolific passers ever? No, probably not. But I think that 80% of Aaron Rodgers is still better than almost any quarterback out there. He is still capable of winning a Super Bowl at that level of play. I think if you look at his numbers last year, Mojo, he was a really, even statistically prolific passer. He had numbers that were rivaling someone like Josh Allen. The Jets just had an absolutely inept coaching staff. I really think Aaron Rodgers, especially with another year removed from that bad Achilles injury, I think Aaron's going to have a big season next season, Mojo. But We wait and we see that week one is going to be a lot of fun. Mojo, before we move on, there is one person at least who is going to be very unhappy about this news today, and that is the great Terry Bradshaw, a four-time Super Bowl winner himself. Remember, recently Terry Bradshaw just absolutely unloaded on Aaron and on the idea of bringing him in to the Steel City.
What do you think about possibly Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback?
That's a joke. He shouldn't. That is just, to me, is a joke. What are you going to do? Bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? I mean,
that's not the Steelers' way, right?
No, man. That guy needs to stay in California and go, somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there.
100%. These guys on the show, Mr. Bradshaw, know I'm not a fan of his. We've been around each other personally, and he was not a kind person.
No, he does not. I had to go over and introduce myself to him. He's not. I had to go, hey, Aaron, I'm Terry Bradshaw. I know he knows me, but I just felt like I better tell him who I am.
Yeah.
And not, you walk in there and you get in his presence and you feel like it's going to start snowing.
Well, Terry, the Buzz, learn to like him because he's your new quarterback. All right, guys, let's talk about Greg Hardy. The former NFL and UFC star was arrested yesterday in Texas. It's a story that we broke on the TMZ Sports website on Wednesday night. Now, Lucas, we are learning more about some of the troubling details that led up to this arrest.
Yes, we received the narrative from police, and they state a woman called police around 2 p.m. on Wednesday and stating that a family violence was taking place. Now, when they arrived on the scene, the woman said, yes, my boyfriend, Greg Hardy, assaulted me and fled the scene. Now, she said this all started from a disagreement that happened on their way back from the park with their kids. Greg had noticed something was going on with her, and he said, what's up? And she said, we'll discuss this when we get home. And now when they arrived back at home, they put the kids to sleep, probably for a nap or something along those lines. And she confronted him over text messages that she found on his phone and said, hey, were you cheating on me when you were out of town recently? The woman claims Greg then told her to get out of his face. She did not, and he proceeded to shove her with both hands on her chest and force her onto the bed. She says he then proceeded to get on top of her and put one of his hands around her neck, and she did state she did not lose breathing or consciousness during that moment, but she did fight back by kicking toward Greg and claims that he then grabbed her feet and pushed her to where her body did a complete 180. Now, after this, the girlfriend says that Greg took his keys and left the scene, and eventually cops were able to catch up to him nearby, and they asked for his side of things, and he said, look, an argument did take place, and I did put my hands around her arms and moved her, but she was the one who put her index finger onto my forehead, and that, quote, hurt. He said he did nothing else, but, we ultimately know that he was taken into custody, and he was booked on a charge of assault causing bodily injury to a family member, and he was released from jail earlier on Thursday morning.
Wow, and I think it's worth noting that, of course, Greg Hardy has been arrested for domestic violence in the past. He's been arrested multiple times, but that incident from 2014 when he was arrested and some of these really horrible injury photos ultimately ended up coming out, and it really it pretty much ended his football career, Mojo. Obviously, he then went on to fight for the UFC, where he had some success, no longer with the promotion. And now Greg dealing with this, and it's a serious charge, and it's a serious allegation. And the reality is Greg Hardy is not going to get a whole bunch of the benefit of the doubt right now, given his history. But it's just an allegation right now. Of course, Greg will, barring the charges being dropped or some sort of plea agreement, he will have his day in court, and it's a story that we will continue to follow. When we come back, NFL legend Donovan McNabb joins the show. The only other Philadelphia Eagle to don the Madden cover passes the torch to this year's Madden cover athlete, Saquon Barkley. That's next on TMZ Sports. We're back on TMZ Sports. It's been a big week for Saquon Barkley. The Super Bowl champ and reigning NFL Offensive Player of the Year was named the Madden 26 cover athlete. Saquon, just the second Philadelphia Eagle to don the cover. The other guy was Donovan McNabb, who had the honor 20 years ago. For more, here's our Lucas Raymond Ray Widman with the 2006 cover athlete.
Donovan McNabb. This is an exciting time for the Eagles fan base. Saquon Barkley was just named the cover athlete for Madden NFL 2026. What is your reaction to that selection? Obviously, I'm going to assume you think it is well-deserved.
Absolutely well-deserved. It could have been him or it could have been Jalen. I think for the Philadelphia Eagles organization, it's always a good thing when you have representation of your organization and the success that you've had, especially leading into the next season. So for all the Madden heads who continuously play the game, I'm sure they're very excited. I believe he was rewarded with a 99 rating. And I'm still somewhat on there, I guess, as one of the legends that you have to put a code in to get. It's exciting for me. I don't play Madden. My son does. So at least I get a chance to see it. But I'm very excited for him.
You personally, as the Madden NFL 06 cover athlete, you know what it's like because there's like the superstar level, which you were at prior to getting the cover. And then you get the cover. And I feel like it takes people to like a whole nother level because you're in everyone's living rooms. You become like that face of the NFL for the year. If you can just kind of walk us through what that experience is like being a Madden cover athlete.
Well, I had a little practice early on. I was on the cover of Backyard Football, if you remember that, I think back then.
Amazing game. I love that game.
It wasn't Madden, but yet still it was exciting because I played that and being that young and being able to play that, it was exciting. But being on the cover of Madden, you're absolutely right. It puts you at a different stratosphere because obviously at that particular time, we all played Madden. And it wasn't so much yet of playing on the internet. You know how some guys sitting there with the headphones and playing. It wasn't as strong then. So you're pretty much playing with family members or friends at your location or at their house, whatever it may be. But it does put you at a different stratosphere. And it also highlights the things that you've been able to do leading to that point. Now, obviously, expectations get higher being on the cover. People are waiting to see what you're going to do now, how's your game going to change, if you're going to fail, whatever it may be. It was an exciting time for me. It was just very exciting because, it was another mark of an accomplishment that I've been able to receive at that particular point. And we continue to thrive. Obviously, I got hurt that season. But we continue to get better and better after that as well.
You brought up the injury, and it seems like this has been debunked at this point because you have players who had absolute stellar seasons after being on the cover. At the time, you talked about how you think, yeah, there is a trend here, but I don't believe there's a curse by any means.
Right.
Is that kind of how you still believe it is?
I still feel that way. I don't believe in curses. I look at it in the sense that it's just something that happened. A freak accident that led to, I think at that particular time it was I broke my ankle or I had a sports hernia, one of the two. But for me, and then you look at some of the other guys that battle some injuries afterwards where people would say, oh, it is a curse. I don't look at it that way. And I think things have kind of changed going forward. Obviously, we're talking 20 years now almost of just, when I was on the cover to now, other guys have not gotten hurt. And so for Saquon, I think this is one that he doesn't have to focus on, I believe, with that and just continue to grind and get ready for a new season and hopefully the same outcome.
Donovan, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Up next, we catch up with wrestling royalty. Is Shane McMahon about to start a rival promotion to compete with his family's old company? We'll ask the former WWE executive and son of Vince McMahon when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, there's been a lot of talk about Shane McMahon and his future in the sport of professional wrestling. Of course, Shane is no longer with WWE. And a lot of people have talked about the possibility of Shane and Dad, Vince McMahon, starting their very own and new wrestling promotion, Mojo. While all of that conversation is happening, also been some speculation that Shane could be joining AEW. So with all of that stuff happening, Mojo, we were so excited to run into Shane McMahon this week and ask him about both of those things. Here's Shane.
Shane, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. I wanted to ask you, I know there's been speculation that you and your dad might start your own wrestling company. Is that true?
You never know what's going to happen out there. Of course, anything can happen in WWE, but those rumors are false. Those rumors are false.
Okay. I know. I mean, if not, any chance you would join the AEW maybe?
Had a meeting with AEW and wish them, continued success or whatever, but it's not WWE. It's not the company I helped build. But you never know what's going to happen in this business.
All right, there you go, Mojo. So no to a new promotion, maybe to AEW?
I'm curious to see how this is going to play out, but I got to say, Babcock, I'm a big fan of Shane McMahon, a guy that was always great to me in my career. Always gave me some great advice. You can see how personable he was to the person interviewing him there. That was nice to see. Yeah. You gotta expect the McMahons to make a comeback in pro wrestling in some way, shape, or form. But to be honest with you, I have no idea which promotion is less likely. I mean, Shane said it. AEW, it's a family business, but it's not their family's business. They don't have any deep-rooted ties in history with the promotion. However, AEW is a giant. They're doing incredibly well in the pro wrestling landscape. So it could make sense. I mean, I could see a world where Tony Khan wants to bring in Shane McMahon to bring in his expertise and all the abilities that he has behind the scenes. Don't forget that Shane has been an incredibly successful business person outside of the world of pro wrestling. He went away to Japan on business for a long time when he left wrestling behind. So who knows if he's going to do a comeback. I mean, as for Vince, getting back into the fold at WWE, man, I don't know. I mean, look, you can never say never. He created that company. Yeah. I mean, he is the guy that took it to where it is. So I know it's not his company anymore. I know he sold it. I believe he sold some stock, hundreds of millions of dollars in stock quite recently, actually, in the company. So with the new leadership, I don't know if that opens the door for Vince to come back. Does it make sense to start their own promotion from scratch this late in the game? Man, I don't know which of these three scenarios is most or least likely, but I'm sure the pro wrestling world would love to see McMahon comebacks in WWE, like wherever it is, whether that's Vince, whether that's Shane, whether that's Stephanie. I mean, the McMahon family and pro wrestling go hand in hand, so you gotta think something's coming at some point.
Travis and Taylor enjoying some downtime before minicamp begins later this month. We take you to date night in Florida with the power couple when TMZ Sports rolls on right after this.
Where can you see huge stars in Hollywood? No, not the planetarium, that's for nerds. We mean the TMZ Celebrity Tour, where we've seen huge stars like Kevin Hart, Rihanna, Ben Affleck, The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, Lizzo, Lady Gaga, Ryan Seacrest, and Jamie Foxx. You'll learn the secrets of the city and see Hollywood as only TMZ can show you. Buses depart daily from the Hard Rock Cafe in Hollywood, so head to TMZTour.com and book your tickets for the TMZ Celebrity Tour.
Oh my God.
Hey guys.
Oh my God.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mike and Mojo. Mojo, there were Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce last night. A little date night in Palm Beach, Florida. Of course, football season is getting really close, Mojo. Travis going to have to report to camp soon, mini camp, and you might not have to. You might have the chance to go on these date nights with his girlfriend. So they got to kind of, take advantage of the opportunity while they can. And they obviously walked out of the restaurant last night hand in hand. It's called Boucan. I might be saying that wrong. It's like a small plates type of deal, Mojo, a fancy restaurant. Food looks good, Mojo. And the fans obviously super pumped to see Probably Travis somewhat, but I think more or less Taylor Swift.
Food looks good. Travis's pants look better, Babcock. I like who's dressing this guy right now. Hopefully it's still him. I don't know what that is like when you have to date like all right, yeah, fair enough. I knew they looked
I knew that. Now we know why you like it. You got the same pants.
Now he just needs to catch up in the hair department and we'll be good to go. Then he's going to be all around a winner. I mean, we both got collared shirts on, of course. I made the heads-up call of removing my sleeves first, but Travis is a tight end. I mean, I was a lineman, so I don't know. Maybe keeping the sleeves on, keeping a little cleaner is more in line with them. But you got to get it in when you can, Babcock. Camp's almost here. Season almost starts. You're going to be under the microscope. Anytime you go out to eat with her, there's going to be people criticizing you. After that Super Bowl performance last year, you think you should really be going out with your girlfriend right now? Like, he can still get away with it right now before all those idiots jump into the fold. So let him have his fun. Let him wear his own pants. And hopefully the Kansas City Chiefs catch on and the whole team's wearing those pants the rest of the season.
That would be a look. I hope that happens too. Remember too, it's funny, you just go back a couple of weeks, there were all these rumors and people speculating that they had actually broken up with one another. And now since we've seen them together time and time again, they have not broken up. They are still very happy. And if you're a football fan, I think you can look forward to seeing Taylor at a bunch of these football games this year, because unlike last season, she's not going to have an international world tour going on. So look forward to that, Mojo. Again, just a couple of days here until minicamp starts, and then it's time to get to work for a guy who will soon be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Mojo, we are out of time. We got a big show tomorrow. Actually going to talk to Juliana Pena. She's talking a lot of trash about Kayla Harris, and that's a big fight coming up at the Prudential Center this weekend. Bunch to talk about, Mojo. It's going to be a great show.
That's right, Babcock. It'll be the best show since today.
I'm a lawyer.